Alrighty, guys, ever since, tragically, Chadwick Boseman, we lost him. Ever since that fateful day in 2020 when it was announced Chadwick Boseman had passed away from prostate cancer. I mean, obviously, we lost an icon. We lost one of the best in the business. And it seemed like, obviously, none of us really knew him other than the people who worked with him. But it seemed like, from all accounts, we lost one of the best people, one of the best human beings. And it was really a tragedy. And of course, a lot of us who are in this community, in the movie community, movie-loving community, have known him as Black Panther, as T'Challa. And so this was coming off of the high of Avengers Endgame. The character of T'Challa had just come back to life, along with so many of the other Avengers, and we were now looking forward to what the new adventures of the MCU characters were going to be with Wanda, WandaVision, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki. So we were all very excited, and obviously Black Panther 2 was, of course, something. The first movie was such a cultural phenomenon, box office hit. It was, of course, going to happen, but then he passes away. And so time moves on, and we have time to heal, and Ryan Coogler and Kevin Feige eventually come out and say that Black Panther, the character of T'Challa, will not be recast. And that obviously sparked a lot of conversation because a lot of people thought the most respectful and best decision would have been to recast T'Challa. Now, at the time, and again, this is all documented on the Access Blockbusters YouTube channel, you can go check it out. At the time, I said, well, I would have preferred if they had recast T'Challa because I think that the character of T'Challa was very important, and I think carrying on his legacy would have been great. But I also very, very much respect the decision of Ryan Coogler and Kevin Feige because those two individuals were some of the people outside of his family and friends, obviously, who knew him the best. And I had no doubt in my mind that they had every intention of trying to honor the man that they knew and loved. I had no doubt about that in my mind. So the decision to not recast T'Challa was one that I said, well, as an outsider, and especially also coming off of The Rise of Skywalker, where we saw in hindsight how it worked of not recasting Carrie Fisher and using that reused footage, and it just didn't work. But Black Panther 2 was going to take a different approach. It was obviously not going to use archive footage of Chadwick Boseman. It was going to shift the focus onto Shuri as Black Panther. We didn't know it at the time, but that's what was going to happen. And so, again, I said at the time, I think I would have preferred the recast, but also I had no doubt that they were going to do what was best in their eyes to honor their beloved friend. And so Black Panther Wakanda Forever came out, and I watched the film. I love the film because it was a way for us as an audience to grieve alongside the people who made the film and the people who really love Chadwick Boseman. I thought it was beautiful. Now, all that being said, now with the recent rumors and speculation that there is going to be a new Black Panther, and obviously setting up, the MCU itself set up the idea that there could be a new T'Challa with literally the child of T'Challa being T'Challa II, that there is this idea now of in the future there could be a new Black Panther, a new T'Challa rather, because Shuri is Black Panther right now. She's going to be in Avengers Doomsday, so that is going to happen. That's exciting. But, now there's speculation that, okay, are we going to recast T'Challa at this point in the MCU, especially with multiverse? You could do a whole lot of things with multiverse. And on top of the fact that, well, there was this quote-unquote supposedly leaked concept art for Avengers Doomsday, which to this day, I don't even know if it's real or I don't even know if it's not real. We did a whole segment about that. And who knows, right? It's concept art. Anyways, even if it's real, it's concept art. It could not, it may not be true. But that concept art did show somebody in a Black Panther outfit who looked an awful lot like an actor named Damson Idris. Now, Damson Idris is not an actor who I was particularly familiar with until this year, because this year, obviously with the whole concept art, leaked concept art, quote unquote, and then also with a film called F1. I don't know if you've heard of it. Very small film, directed by Top Gun Maverick's Joseph Kosinski, is coming out very, very soon, and I am quite excited for it. Brad Pitt and Damson Idris are the stars of that film, and so Damson Idris was doing press because I think now he's being associated with T'Challa a lot at this point with all the speculation of him being one of the potential fits for a recast, given the multiverse and whatnot, and also given that concept art, whatever that was, he's being asked about it. And so he was asked on, I believe this is Good Morning America or one of those talk show hosts, and they asked him, okay, well, there have been rumors that you're going to be the next Black Panther. Is that true? Yes or no? And to which he responds jokingly, I should add, he says jokingly, yes, no. So this wasn't a slip up. It wasn't a Mark Ruffalo, oh, you should wait till you see the next Avengers film, everyone dies, or half of everyone dies, and everyone's like, oh, what was that? This isn't the case. This was the Today Show, not Good Morning America. I should add. But this is Damson Idris very clearly, intentionally choosing his words and saying yes, no. And then he was asked later on, but if you were offered the role of Black Panther, would you say yes? And he says very quickly, very clearly, yes. So again, I've said this before with many times where we take these because, he's on a talk show, he's doing interviews, he's probably doing tons of interviews, and he just, whatever. I've said this before because on this channel, I don't want to take people's words out of context. I actually really want to do the work of recontextualizing what people say. So what this is could be nothing. Could be Damson Idris saying, oh, look at all these rumors. Aren't these fun rumors? I'm not the next Black Panther. They've never approached me for that. But hey, people are asking me about it, so let's just have some fun. I've always said, though, that I'm of the mind that if somebody outright denies something, right? If somebody outright, especially in this context of superhero casting, if somebody outright says, are you the next X character? Are you the next Ghost Rider? If they ask Ryan Gosling. And he says, no, I'm not. It doesn't necessarily mean that he is telling the truth, because Andrew Garfield obviously lied his way to Spider-Man No Way Home. But if he really wasn't Ghost Rider, it seems like that's what he would say. Because think about it, right? If you aren't Ghost Rider and you're being asked, are you Ghost Rider? Why would you say yes? Why would you even play coy about it if you're just not Ghost Rider? The answer for me, and I haven't done PR for this kind of stuff, so I don't know, but for me, I would think the answer would be, no, I mean, that's a fun rumor and whatnot, but no, I'm definitely not the next Ghost Rider, but it'd be fun to join that universe. That would be the answer, and a lot of actors have given that answer. So by saying no, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're telling the truth, but I would think that if they weren't, if the answer was actually no, then they would say no. So by Damson Idris playing coy and actually saying, I don't know, yes, no, right? I think that that's at least a little more credence to the fact that this rumor could be picking up steam. So I'm going to file this under, let's monitor this and let's keep this in mind. Because again, with that, whatever that concept art was and with the fan casting, I don't put a whole lot of weight into that, to be quite honest with you. This, though, is starting to tip the scales a little bit towards something of interest. I'm not saying I fully buy into the fact that Damson Idris is going to be the next T'Challa. I don't know. But it's something where all of a sudden it's gone from, put it on the back burner to, okay, something of interest. And the next time Damson Idris and Black Panther get mentioned again, we're going to pay attention to it. So that's my take on this. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you think that this is perhaps an outright confirmation from Damson Idris that he's going to be the next Black Panther? I don't think so. But do you think that that's the case? Or do you think that this is just another flash in the pan and nothing's going to happen from this? Let me know in the comments down below.